Hey guys, it's Chris from Chris's Creative Life, and I design workshops that help you create beautiful layouts from start to finish with easy to follow guides. So welcome to the second installment of Boo Crew Week. This, I think, is going to turn out super cute. So I am going to make a layout today. So just let me share this over into my classroom. There we go. Okay, so I knew when we did a card earlier this week. So if you missed it, I made this stinking cute slimline card with the contents to a Boo Crew. So I had one before and then I made one live. So if you missed it, you can jump over to my YouTube channel, or if you scroll down the feed, you can find the video here. So I knew I also wanted to do something not Halloween themed. So we are going to create a layout here, and I have an idea in my head. So always when I do typically a scrapbooking layout from scratch, I only have a concept in my head and a few little things going on there. So we will see how this turns out. So I'm going to shoot you down onto my desk. There we go. I almost forgot to turn on all my lights before we started, and that would have been bad. You would have been in the dark. So just let me pull this up here so I can see if there are comments, because sometimes when they're over to the side, I cannot catch them fast enough. So I do see there's a few people on. Okay, here we go. So like I said, we're going to create a layout, and it's got nothing to do with Halloween. So, but I have the papers from Boo Crew here. So there are 3 different sheets of paper included in that Boo Crew. There's this one with the spiders, but on the back is this orange plaid. So we're going to use that side. One of the accent colors is Wildberry. So we've got some Wildberry cardstock. This is another one of the pieces, which is just this black and white star print. And on the back side is this super fun little word sentiments. This is great too if you wanted to cut it up and actually use it on your Halloween pages. Like there's so many fun things like Boo, Candy Day, Oh So Spooky, Beware. But we're going to use the other side of this. Then I have a piece of ballerina. I have a big, huge heart because we're going to do like a love-themed page with Boo Crew. I've grabbed one of the zip strips and a little tiny piece of Wildberry glitter paper. I love that in the new annual, there's tons of new glitter paper colors and new shimmer trim colors. You know, those are my favorites. Okay, so here we go. And I have a black piece of cardstock for my background. I'm just going to set that aside for 1 second. So this is my idea. Like I said, sorry, I'm just going to have a sip of water here. When I do these, typically I don't have like a master plan. I have kind of a general idea what's going to happen. Sorry about that. Okay. So this is kind of what I have going on in my head here. We're going to adhere these onto this heart and cut them out. So like I said, so I'm picking up some of the more, not colorful color, but more of the generic colors off of the pattern papers. and I'm just adding in a little bit of plain cardstock. So I'm just going to add some adhesive down onto my white heart here. And we're going to add our layers in. Okay, so I have this plaid we're going to do first. And like I said, this is quite a large heart. So you could do this with like any kind of shape though. It doesn't have to be a heart. You could use the same concept in so many different ways. Okay, so I just want these pieces on first. Okay, now I can pull those aside and I'm just going to add adhesive down here onto my, so you could use anything, right? You could use a circle. You could actually even just use like another square, a heart, a star, and use the same kind of concept. Okay, so then this is ballerina down here. Okay, now I'm gonna flip these over and we're gonna cut out our shape to add on to our layout. So, like I said, I wanted to show you with Boo Crew Week that yes, it is totally Halloween themed paper, but you do not need to use it that way. And for whoever saw like my little sneak peek of all the flowers, we are going to add a whole pile of those flowers onto this layout. So that's the new flower thin cut from the annual idea book. Hey, Pauline. So I have beside me all the stamp and thin cuts that I'm using. And so this is the new layered flowers that's in the annual idea book. And I'll tell you, it is totally addicting. I started cranking out the flowers and I couldn't stop. So I just have pulled the colors from this collection, but I've added a few others in there to help balance out the layout, I think. So I did, like I said, I just kept cranking it through so that I had tons of different versions to play with. And you'll see in 1 second, I'll throw a whole pile down on the table. So I did glue them together. And I did find that liquid glass and my precision tip for the glue worked super well. So that would be a recommendation that I have. And like I said, they're super fun. They're like a little bit of a puzzle and you can mix and match all the pieces and flowers. So there we go. That's what I'm thinking here. So we're starting with this. Okay, so then we have a black piece of cardstock and I'm gonna add my heart onto my layout. I'm adding my zip strip over here with the little bit of shimmer paper. So I'm going to do that first so I have the positioning for my heart. So I'll just lift up here so you can see while I'm gluing the other parts down. So I have my photos here, and like I said, nothing to do with Halloween. I did use a little bit of stickles that I'll show you in a second. And I've got another thin cut that I used. And then here, I just grabbed some embellishments that I think I might use. Got some other fun stuff over here. But here, I'm just going to put up here a whole, hey Lee, a whole pile of the flowers that I created. So like I said, I've got a ton. I'll go through the colors with you in a second that I used. But I'll add them into the camera shot because they're just so stinking pretty. Okay, so I'm going to add this zip strip on the side. Because also this zip strip is completely generic. I just got a little bit of extra on here, so I'm just going to trim it off. I probably could have turned it or just covered it up with the shimmer trim. So also when you're cutting, it's not shimmer trim, it's the glitter paper. When you're cutting that, I always turn my paper upside down in my trimmer so that I have the white side up, so it's a little bit easier on your blades. Okay, move back onto camera here, Chris. Okay, so I'm just going to run this along the outside. So you could very easily turn this into a double page spread by just doing the same thing kind of on the other side and just adding like a block of photos would look really great. So when I cut this, I turn this upside down so that I have this white facing up in my trimmer, and it's just a little bit easier on your blade because that glitter paper is so rough. You want to make sure to be careful with your trimmer blades. Unless you've got an endless supply of blades, then don't worry about it. So I'm just gonna run this along the side because we all know I need a little bit of shimmer, glitter, whatever. Okay, so now I'm just going to get rid of this one little white edge we've got here because it's the black paper, so you can totally see if you have a little bit of a white edge. Okay, there we go. So I am going to add this kind of like this. So my idea is, I don't want it quite that angled. I just want it kind of slightly askew. And I'm just kind of centering it top and bottom. Okay, so I have a 4x4 photo and a 3x4 photo. So I have just a super skinny Wildberry mat on here, and we're going to add a black mat that has a little bit of stickles around the edge. So I did use the pink taffeta stickles on the edge of my mat. So you can just kind of see it poking out. Okay, so this is kind of what we've got going on. Okay, we're going to add our flowers in over here. And so I did use another new thin cut here. And this one is the Love You thin cut, which I'm assuming is like designed for scrap or cards, but we're going to use it on our page. So I cut it once with the silver glitter paper, and then once with wild berry. And I've just offset the wild berry to make it look like a shadow. And we're going to add that on here. So when you want to do that, it's the same as like last week when I did the making waves layout. Just make sure if you're adding a shadow with your thin cut that they're all kind of going in the same direction. So you don't want one up and one down and one off to the side. Okay, so then the other fun little thing that I decided to do here is we have another thin cut that we're going to use. So I've grabbed the date stamp and thin cut, and so this is a 2-part thin cut. And I know I keep saying this, but it's so true, that this is super fun and probably one of my favorite things. So this part creates a little pocket, and then this is like your insert. So it's supposed to be like a library card, you know, like the old books had the library thing that they stamped when you took it out of the library. So this is grouped with in the school section of the new idea book. But we're going to take it and we're going to add a pocket right here. So I've cut out my pocket with wild berry, okay, and we're going to add it on here. I'm going to decorate it with a little bit of that black and white star, and then I have a wild berry piece, and then I used the brand new, because this was our anniversary, so it was 25 years. I cut out with the new Slimline Alpha. I don't know if they're actually called Alpha when they're numbers. Slimline numbers. I cut out this number in ballerina to coordinate. So I also did the library card in ballerina, and we're going to cut it down and put it inside this pocket. So I'm going to stamp here on the top. So I did stamp the lines beforehand, and I did them in mink on the ballerina. And right now I'm going to just stamp at the top, and I grabbed from the annual also, the for all occasions, and I've pulled off the stamp that says anniversary. It's up here. That's why I can't see it. It's right underneath witch dies. They're all so cute. So I've got the anniversary on my block. Okay, so then I left this on here just to because I haven't put it away yet. But I did this. I stamped on here, like I said, with the mink. I wanted it just to be subtle in the background, not like because obviously not all of it. Like I'm going to add my journaling on here, but it's obviously not like a school layout. So I am going to cut off some of this, but I've left it whole until I decide how much I want to have poking out. But as part of that stamp and thin cut, the date stamps, I know. So there's all your numbers, there's all your days of the week. So there's tons of fun things on here. But so I grabbed the one that says 25 and then the TH, so 25th anniversary, I'm going to put on this card. But so there's all your months, all your dates, best, this day, like ever happening, weekend, night. Like there's tons of little things that you could totally tuck in to all sorts of journaling. So this is a fun one. You will see this. I'm going to use this a lot probably over the course of the year. Sorry. Okay. So let's stamp 25th anniversary at the top of my card here. And so I just need to see if I can, oh yeah, I actually think I can fit all of it. Okay. We also have new tabs, so I might add that after. There's a new thin cut that's got the tabs on it. Let me just see if I can find it quickly. If not, I'll just show you after. So this one, this tabs thin cut. I think that I'm going to add one of these at the top of this. So I'm going to stamp on the second line and I'll cut a tab after because I didn't think about that before. Okay, so I have this here just to show you that I did the lines in mink. And I'm going to, I could probably have done this in a color too, but that's okay. If I don't like it in the black, I will come back and restamp it after. Okay, so 25. And I kind of want them wonky because that's kind of like how they used to stamp your library card insert. So just like that. So that's kind of fun. And I love that nothing matches. I've got all sorts of different fonts going on, right? Like this is bold, and then we've got the little 25th, and then we've got like this scripty font over here, and this is the slimline one. Okay, so let's put our pocket together. I'm just gonna now move some of this stuff out of my way. You guys should always see the like disaster behind me after I'm finished. But I have a tendency to throw everything to the side. So this, I did leave this out here because I just wanted to show you. It's just one of our circle thin cuts, and I cut a circle because I wanted there to be some definition between that and the pattern paper. Okay. There we go. Okay. So then I'm going to show you, like I've got tons of flowers. So I'm just going to lay them in. My idea, so I might add this in, which is one of our, the bows, the striped ribbon bows, which are one of my favorite, but I have not used them in a while. So we might add this in. I'm not 100% certain. But in the floral cluster, I'm going to add maybe some black and white dots, some silver glitter gems, and some silver embellishing thread. So let's start gluing things down. But I was just going to show you the combination in the flowers that I did. So I grabbed a sheet, a full sheet of cardstock, and cut it down to like 4 by 12. And then I just cranked through all the flowers so that I had different combinations to play with. So I have Wildberry and Sundance, Wildberry and Ballerina. Then there's Nectarine in there because I knew I had my Nectarine here, right? Wildberry and Sundance. I have Flamingo in here too because I wanted another tone of pink. And then, so on the Ballerina too, I've used both sides of Ballerina. So we have this almost white, and then we have the pink, and then you can see the Flamingo behind. What other colors do I have here? I used evergreen to cut some of these branches, and these are all from that same thin cut, and I absolutely love the stitches on these leaves with the branch. And so like I said, I used evergreen, And I used both sides of evergreen. So I have some light leaves and some darker leaves. So my thought process is to kind of intersperse them across the heart here. I think I got all the colors there. Nectarine, wildberry, Sundance, ballerina, and flamingo. So, and then the evergreen branches. Okay, so let's glue a few things down so I don't lose all of this. So I'm going to glue my photos down first, and we're going to create our pocket here. So I just cut that pattern paper to be just like 1/8 of an inch so that I have a little bit of the wildberry poking out as a mat. Okay. Now I'm going to add my pictures because I think I'm going to glue this down or use the new red tape on it. We're going to try this. I have not really used this very much, but we have a new tape. So I'm assuming it is stronger than just like our regular adhesive. So we're going to give that a try. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 3D foam tape. So I'm going to do this one with thin and this one with thick because we're the more important part, even though the flowers are beautiful. So it was funny. Well, it was lovely. I got tons of flowers for this day. My daughter was joking because there was like a bouquet in every major room in the house. So, but there's like a whole story to the flowers because when we got married, it was strange. I don't know if strange is the right word, but he was determined that we were going to have calla lilies. That was his favorite. And so the guys all had calla lily boutonnieres, and then I carried calla lilies. So he always buys me calla lilies, but they have no smell and they don't last very long. So, but I was super sick when I had my daughter and was in the hospital for a really long time. But he bought me a bouquet that had lilies in it. And it's funny because even though it was like super stressful time, it's like they're quite nice memories. So my bouquet or my flowers had yellow calla lilies in it and then yellow lilies. So it smelled super awesome in my house. So I'm slightly allergic too, so, but it was worth it. The new thin cuts that we got in the annual idea book are all so versatile. You guys are going to see me use them over and over and over again. So yes, I like that little bit of just popped up on foam tape. So this one I'm going to do on thicker foam tape. But then it was funny because then my mom brought over like little like a vase of little sunflowers. There were like 9 sunflowers in there. And then his mom brought over another set of flowers that actually were all in this like this wildberry color palette between the wildberry and the ballerina. So they would have been perfect to scrapbook on this page, but they weren't from him. So maybe I'll do that on the other side. Those other the other bouquets that I got. They kind of went all the way from like that fall theme, even though we haven't quite hit fall here yet, all the way from that fall theme to almost like a Valentine's Day feeling from the flowers that his mom gave us. They were all beautiful. I'm just getting ready to, I keep sizing them down and sizing them down, but it is getting time to get rid of them. Okay, so now I have those in here. I am going to decide where I want this. So I think we're going like that. I'm gonna mark this to cut it. Okay, so we're gonna try, I'm going to actually put this in here so I can see. Okay, so I kind of want it like that. So I'm actually gonna hide a little piece of 3D foam behind here just to keep this pushed up. Actually, when I cut the page protector, it'll come out. So I don't actually even have to worry about that. There we go. Okay, so here we go. So I can't actually even see the little package that says how many feet are on here. But I have high hopes for this little red line adhesive. So this annual, I feel, the annual idea book has tons of very useful, versatile products in it. From the thin cuts to things like the red line tape to new tools, right? There's the new paper crafting tool. And then there's these new pickup tools, which I think are going to be so fun because I'm constantly trying to pick up little tiny things. So I think when we do sequins, we're going to pull those out and try them. Okay, so now I'm just going to take the backing off. So it's just got like a little film on it, and you did see, I'm not sure if you saw or not, but I took my bone folder and just kind of pushed it down so that it's making contact with my cardstock, just so that I get a nice nice even amount of sealing almost of the tape, because even if you don't push it down, sometimes you could get little parts that pop up. It is full of lots of fun, delightful products. Okay. That is where I'm wanting it. So I'm going to cut my page protector so that this can come right out. Okay, so I'm going to add my 25 on here. Okay, so I'm going to start adding some embellishing thread in here. I'm going to do a few bundles of embellishing thread through my floral cluster too. So you guys know how I do that. So I'm going to unwind a piece. Okay. And so I'm just going to unwind a few. I'm going to do them all at the same time. Well, we'll do 3 to start. That's what I'm feeling. Okay, so I'm just going to take it, wrap it around my fingers till they connect, and I'm just going to add it onto a glue dot. So I think I have 4. Okay, so I just have a strip of 4 glue dots here, and where all of the thread crosses over, I'm just tapping it in to that glue dot. It'll stay there until I need it. Okay, so I've got 1 there, doing the same thing. Okay, and I'm just gonna tap it down. It makes it super easy to use it because then it's not sitting all over the place. Actually, only cut 3, but that's okay. Okay, so I know this is extra off the end already, so I'm just going to cut that and get it out of my way. Okay, so I'm tapping it down in. So I'm going to use this one. So we are going to take this glue dot. I can't actually see. I'm sure it's like literally right in front of me, my piercing tool. That's so strange because look, so here's my empty container. So I know it's like literally right in front of me and it's round. So, okay, well, we're going to improvise. Okay, so I'm just taking 1 glue dot and covering the other one. And because I just want it poking out from behind my circle. So I'm just gonna like throw the silver things in a few different spots on the layout, right? So to match the glitter paper, etc. If somebody sees my piercing tool on the table, point me in the right direction. But I don't actually think it's here. It maybe got caught up in the thin cuts when I cleaned them all up. Okay, so I'm just kind of centering it. Now we're going to add the 25 on here. So I'm just going to add a little bit of liquid glue. Liquid glass is my preferred. Okay, and so I know that the tops and the bottoms are coming off of the 25. So I'm just going to add the adhesive in the middle. Okay, and I'm just kind of centering them. Just like that. And I'll add some silver embellishments in here after. So I'm just going to add this on here for a second. Okay, and like I said, I know this I want in here. So I actually think, okay, we're gonna put a greenery starting down here. So I'm going to pull out a pile of glue dots. So I'm just going to add a few glue dots. If you are worried about them showing, you could add micro, but I know that like there's going to be lots of flowers on top of here, so I'm not really worried that you're going to be able to see my glue dots or something else is going to stick to them. Ah, here we go. Thank goodness. Okay, so I have a light one here. And then I'm going to add a dark one here, and then I'm going to put my words in. So there's also different words too, right? I could have used, there's a thin cut that says congratulations. There's also one that says sending hugs. So even though they are probably designed for cards, you can totally use them on your scrapbooking layouts. Okay, so I am going to pop the love up on 3D foam tape. So I just want some thin 3D foam tape. And I know I can't add it at the top, right? Because I want that part to overlap on my photograph. But the whole bottom I'm good with. So I'm just looking for the wider parts of the letters, and I'm adding the narrower foam tape. And I just need it in enough spots to give it height and make it even. So I'm just going to pop my word in, and then I'm going to add my other floral, like greenery pieces down. And then I'm going to add in my silver embellishing thread bundles, and then I can add in my flowers. And obviously you could do as much or as little as you want. But when you're mass creating flowers like this, right, I'm just going to throw them in. I can either throw them in the pocket of my thin cut for later. I can throw them in with my Boo Crew stuff because I know they already coordinate. There, okay, I'm just, sorry, trying to get my word to look correct. It's like the chewing gum and rubbing your stomach, or patting your head and rubbing your stomach at the same time. Sometimes I have to make sure I line things up while I'm still talking. Can sometimes be a challenge for me. So you could add texture to these flowers. There's a lot, like you could totally mix and match it. This fun little piece that pops out of the middle of this, you can pop it up and add it onto other flowers. I just kept all these flowers exactly, very generic, just in the color family, like I said. Okay. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to add my two other branches, and then we'll start filling things in. If you want these to have lots of dimension, you could roll them, but I don't want a ton of dimension because I know it's going under a page protector that I'm already going to have to slice open. So like I said, I cut a few with both strengths of cardstock. So I just, when I cut these ones, I cut my paper in half so that I was cutting one dark and one light at the same time. Okay, so now I'm gonna lay in some big flowers first, and then I'm gonna pile up my flowers, and then I'll just start playing with dimension. So I want some of kind of every size of flower. But I know, so there's kind of, let's just say, like, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 main sizes, right? So, and I kind of want a variety. So I'm going to pick a few big ones, and I'm just trying to decide. I think I might tuck something in over here. And I just want to, so I have to say, this is my favorite flower, followed by these little guys. Actually, so I want to make sure, like I made sure to add some of the nectarine in here to play up some of the other colors from, like, because I've got it over here, right? And I've got it in this plaid down here. So I'm just bending them a little bit with my fingers. You don't have to go crazy. So we're going to add some centers to these ones. Just like that. I might actually tuck this. So I'm using the paper crafting tool to slide underneath. Okay, and I think I'm going to tuck this more underneath this photograph. Okay, I'm not going to push this down until I'm certain that that's what I'm going to do. But I think I want something like that. And this will still come through because when I cut my page protector, it's just going to come right out the slit. I don't really need to worry about it. Okay, so I actually think I'm going to start gluing a few things down. But first I'm going to add in my little bundles of embellishing thread so that they will poke out. So I have one here. So I'm going to add one off to the side over here and try not to bury it too much, but I'm doing it right on the edge of my heart there. And then I'm going to add one right there. Okay, just it'll kind of go right there. Okay, so now I can start playing and gluing this down. So I'm going to glue down some of my bottom elements first here. So some of the bigger pieces. Just have to be careful there because I have 3D foam tape on that. Okay, so then this one. And this one I'm going to put on some thin 3D foam tape. So once you're putting stuff down with 3D foam tape, it's super hard to move it. So you kind of have to be happy with where it is. Okay, so I want to tuck in this big flower underneath here. And one of the other things I will say about these, the floral thin cuts, is they are designed so that it is very easy to put your layers together. So there's a distinctive part of each of the flowers so that it makes it really, really easy to line them up. Because I don't know if you've ever experienced when you're trying to line up a thin cut and you just can't figure out how it goes together. Well, all these flowers have kind of like a very easy tell so that you know how it goes together. So for example, this one, you can see this point right here. It's very distinctive. None of the other petals are like that. It makes it very easy to line them up. So you can see all three of these petals are different. So you can turn it very easily, looking for like this dramatic dip in this one to help line it up. I must have moved whatever I was putting here. Oh, it was this one. But I think I might actually do that bigger one. Do this one behind. And do that bigger one in there. So I was actually surprised at how quickly they came together, because you don't have to think crazy hard about assembling the two pieces together. So I just sat and I glued the two pieces together very quickly. Okay, I'm going to do this on 3D foam tape too. But I need it to overlap my photo, so I'm just doing the 3D foam tape on the outside. Okay, so I just want kind of a few of these spread in here, and then we will add the embellishments. Okay, so I don't know if you've noticed, but so I have that yellow here, and I just added that yellow up here. So now I'm going to add that yellow here. So at least I have it in a few spots on the layout. So, and I brought the yellow into the flowers because I knew this photograph was going on this layout, right? So even though the yellow is not in the blueberry color collection, I knew that I wanted a yellow on the layout, and I thought that the Sundance went well. So that is the yellow that I picked. So I just think okay, I think this is going to be the last flower. And then, so, because I could keep going on and on, but I think we're going to stop there. Okay, I'm going to put my lid on my liquid glass, or I'm not going to be able to use it later. Okay. So I'm going to move these out of the way. So I have lots. If I wanted to make like a companion page, right? I could run these along a border of on the other side. So if I was going to do a second page, I was trying to be all crafty picking these up. I would probably so if I was going to do a second page, I would probably do a border down the side, do just a very generic grid pattern in the middle, and have some of the flowers run down the border on the other side. That is what I kind of would do if I was going to add a second page to this, and you might see that. I might do that. Okay, so I'm going to move these out of the way. So then, like I said, I've grabbed silver sequins and black and white dots. So I'm going to add some silver sequins to the middles of some of the flowers. Stickles would be great in the middle. You can add stickles to highlight some parts of the flower. I've got a lot of glitter going on here, so I don't think I am going to add stickles to my flowers. I was trying to decide, but I actually think we are going to do the glitter gems. So, and I'm not going to do them in all the flowers, just some of them. No. Okay. So I think that is that. And then I'm just going to add some black and white dots in the clusters for a little bit of contrast. Because we've got, like I said, I've got tons of glitter going on. So I've got a whole pile of ends of little packages here. So I'm just going to... You could also use these for your centers of your flowers if you wanted. They would look super cute there. So I'm just using the black and white dots just because I want to tie in the background and the fact that there is a lot of white here, like here and in lighter colors in the flowers. So, oh my goodness, I've got like, there we go. So when I pick the white ones, I can actually run them off the, out of the cluster and onto the background here. It's funny, for the black ones, I seem to have lots of big ones and little ones and not a ton of the medium-sized ones. I must have used those all on something. Jennifer, I hope that's in a good way, not a bad way. So, okay, and then I'm going to do 2 here. And 1 right here. There we go. Okay, so I think I need to stop. Oh, thank you. That's very sweet. So here is what we did. So I took just this giant heart. I did cut my heart out with my Cricut, but if you don't have, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do something crazy. I actually am going to doodle around these little places. So let me move my dots out of the way though, so I don't make a mess. Move dust out of the way. So I'm just going to take my black journal pen, as long as I can find it. Okay, we're using this one. You could also do this with, now that we have the other Le pens, you could do this with a different color if you're just using papers from your stash. But so I thought that this was such a fun color combination, and has nothing to do with Halloween. So there's that. So I'm just going to add it in all the little places, because I think, so what happened was I was looking at my leaves, and this kind of just reminds me of that stitching on the leaves. So, and then I have a little bit that's showing down here, so I'm going to add it here. And then right there. I feel like this flower needs something, but I'm not sure what yet. So I might just leave it. So like I said, I could keep on going with this too. I think that these flowers in particular would look awesome with stickles on them. I'll just do one. So with these, like, you could do stickles in these parts of the flowers. So if you did, let's see what I have here. You could also do stickles around the outside of the flowers. That would look awesome. All my silvers are like almost empty. I don't want to shake the whole table. Okay, no silvers coming out of here. If you can't get little bits of stickles, you can use just a paintbrush with them too. Just put a little bit down. I don't have a paintbrush here. On like your all-purpose mat. One of my favorites to do just like a little bit of accenting things is with the diamond color. So you could also add like little stems on there. That's not going on very smoothly. I'm at the end, like I said, I'm at the end of all my bottles of stickles. I need to order more. But so once this dries, it'll just play up the center of the flower. So also by using the, here, I'll do the diamonds because I think that's, a fun little, so I like the diamond and the icicle are probably my two favorites for just adding a little bit of sparkle to everything. You like platinum. So that is just slightly different. So this is icicle. And you guys, I need to either stop using my stickles or order more stickles, one or the other. So here, maybe, I wonder if I could do it with my water brush and show you. It's probably not the best thing for my water brush, but you can also just add stickles where you want with a paintbrush. So I'll wash this right away after because they're sticky. Yes, I normally do store my, well, I have half of mine upside. The ones that get close to the end, I have them upside down. The full bottles are normally right side up. You can also fully paint the leaf if you wanted to add just a little bit of shine to the flower. And it's a different look than like painting it with a shimmer brush, right? Which you could also do too. Because you get those little bits of glitter in here. So I would normally do this on my all-purpose mat and not with my water brush. Just like a cheap craft brush, right? And like I said, this is different. You get a different look than you get with a shimmer brush. So just let me wipe this off my water brush, or I'm not going to be able to watercolor with my water brush later. So that's another fun thing to do. So then you could also do shimmer brushes in any of the colors, right? So you could just, I'm just going to move this slightly out of my way so I don't stick my hand back in it. But you could take, so this is the clear one. I could add it onto some of my flowers. Oh my goodness, you guys. I just said I need to be careful. Okay, so that's how that flower looks. I need to move that up because now I flipped it over and got my stickles everywhere. Okay, so my water brush, I need to put the lid on. Here we go. Okay. So this is clear stickles. You could add that onto parts of the flower. So this though is a completely different look than the stickles. I'll lift the two up together. It might be hard to see on camera, but both of these pieces that I've added the shine to are both that wildberry color, but they have a different look to them. So here is the stickles, and that is the icicle stickles. So you get some like blues and little pieces of glitter, and then this just has a shine, right? Because it's just the clear shimmer brush, so it's got like a sheen versus painting it versus big chunks of glitter. Oh yeah, I use like just like a cheap paintbrush. Don't use your water brushes like I just did. Because it's so stickles is like glue based, right? They're stickles glue. I actually think is in the name somewhere. Can't actually see because they're all covered up with labels. So you don't want it sitting on your water brush. So if you're going to use a brush, get just like a cheap brush, and I'll just squirt some out onto my all-purpose mat and paint that way. I'll do it in a video coming up. But, okay, so I think that's what I've got for you today. You guys, I have like 7 bottles of stickles on my desk now. Okay, so you could also, so this is gold shimmer brush. Okay, so I'm just going to put some down on my block here. So you want to make sure to shake them up because your color is in there, but it needs to get mixed around. So you could also just do the edges of your flower with the shimmer brush to give it color. I think this gold is also almost done. But by just painting the color on the edge, you get kind of a different look too. So if I was going to do something like that, I would do it to the edge of a few flowers to add into my clusters, right? And then they all kind of come together. Yes, it's empty. That's why I'm not really getting much gold out of it. But I'll do it with flamingo. Because the cardstock is flamingo. So you can, so I just have my block. Flamingo is quite pigmented. I've got lots of color in there still. So You could distress them with your inks. You could distress them with Distress Oxide ink, right? All the fun things. So there's so many different ways to alter them. You could paint the middle with stickles, all sorts of fun things you could do. So you could just highlight the tips of this big flower with the flamingo shimmer brush. Because flowers are obviously, you've never seen the inside. So because they'll keep going for a long time, even when they're empty. So you don't actually have to be afraid about opening them. Just let me finish this first. So this doing something like this kind of just gives each of the petals a little bit of shine just on the tips. I'll just go over the gold because I didn't really have much in there. So it just kind of gives them something a little bit different. So no different than when you start your, oh, look at that. This one's almost empty too. Your brushes. You can look inside. Just be careful that the inside hasn't fallen out. And I think that the reason that most people have accidents with shimmer brushes, because when they're super pigmented and then you pull it and then you get it all over yourself, I think that a lot of the way it happens is people's natural tendency is to try and unscrew this lid, because there is a screw, there's a screw factor to it, right? But always just make sure that the bottom is sealed up well and pop your lid so that you're not, because what happens is they get twisted and then this is loose and it gets ink, colored ink inside it, and that's how you end up with an accident. Believe me, I learned things the hard way always. So you can see here, this one, the bottom has come, because I opened it, I think, has come apart from the top. So always just be careful when you're opening your shimmer brushes. So apparently I need to do some embellishment or stickles and shimmer brush shopping to replenish my stash. So I hope you guys enjoyed that today. That's what I've got for you. Like I said, really what I wanted to show you was that, yes, Boo Crew is for Halloween. So like the card I made the other day, which would also, like I said, make a great layout. You could totally adapt it to make a layout. Just let me take a sip of water. But it doesn't have to be. You can pick the colors and totally have fun with it. So I thought the big heart would be a fun element to be able to cut up and pull apart to create a layout. I'm trying to make sure I don't stick everything together on my desk that it's left down there. So that's what I got for you guys today. So like I said, I created the big heart. You could totally do, if you don't have a Cricut, but I just cut a Cricut heart. It's a free image in Cricut. If you don't, you can do it the same way we did when we were in elementary school and fold your piece of paper in half and cut a heart out, because you just really need it as the base, as your pattern, right? So then I color blocked in the heart with the orange plaid paper, the wild berry. This is from Boo Crew too, along with the plaid paper. And then I have some ballerina in here. I have a zip strip from Boo Crew, some wild berry glitter paper, and then I used the date stamp stamp and thin cut. I love this thin cut. Then all the flowers are thin cut. The Love You is a thin cut with silver glitter paper and wild berry cardstock. Then for embellishing, I have the silver embellishing thread. I have a silver glitter gems, And then I finished it off with some black and white dots and then the doodle stitching around the outside of the heart, which I think just kind of ties it all in to the black background. So that's what I got for you guys today, and I hope you have a good one. We'll talk to you later. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.